Hello Bloomington, I'm Mayor Tim Busse, and this is the Council Minute for the week of October 9th. We start this week with a really exciting new collaboration between Bloomington and the Minneapolis Regional Chamber of Commerce. The collaboration is called Hatch Bloomington, a new retail pitch competition that will give ambitious entrepreneurs the opportunity to compete for $100,000 in financial assistance. That's right, a pitch competition. Think Shark Tank. Some quick background here. The idea came up when the advisory group that's been working on the new Small Business Development Center talked about ideas to get the local entrepreneur community excited about investing in Bloomington. Carla Henderson, Bloomington's Community Development Director, brought up a program she knew of from her days when she worked in Detroit called Hatch Detroit. Hatch Detroit started in 2011 with the goal of championing and supporting small businesses in the Detroit area. Since 2011, more than 50 entrepreneurs who participated in Hatch Detroit have opened storefronts, and they are responsible for more than $13 million in economic investment in the city. They employ more than 500 people. It's a great idea with a great track record. And you've heard me say before, you know you have a good program in your city when other cities steal the idea. That's what we're doing. Now, Hatch Detroit knows what we're doing. They've been very supportive. So, what will Hatch Bloomington look like? Ideal applicants will be independent brick and mortar retail businesses with an emphasis on sustainability, creativity, equity, and inclusiveness. Applicants can be in any stage in their business development timeline, from the initial idea to expansion, but they must propose a brick and mortar storefront presence in the city. We're looking to boost investment and revitalize our commercial corridors. Applicants will submit deliverables, and there will be 3 rounds of judging over the course of about 4 months. The last 2 rounds will include community judging and possibly live presentations in the Schneider Theater. Ultimately, the winner will receive $100,000 in financial assistance to bring their pitch to life. The way the competition is envisioned, even applicants who don't win the big money will benefit. The program will provide everyone with help on business strategy, budgeting, marketing development, and mentoring. The goal is for Hatch Bloomington to boost all great entrepreneurial pursuits that are centered in the community and to showcase what Bloomington has to offer. As I mentioned, Hatch Bloomington is a collaboration between the City of Bloomington and the Minneapolis Regional Chamber of Commerce. Chamber President and CEO Jonathan Weinhagen joined us Monday night and talked about how the Chamber is always looking for new, better, and different ways to engage with member communities. Hatch Bloomington is a great example of this, and we are very grateful for and excited about this collaboration with the Minneapolis Chamber. Look for a kickoff event shortly after the new year, and by March they should be ready to start accepting applications. The winner of the $100,000 will be decided next June. Also on Monday, the Council had our first in-depth departmental discussion on the proposed 2024 budget. We heard from our 2 chiefs, Police Chief Booker Hodges and Fire Chief Yulie Seal, talk to us about the details of their budget requests from their respective departments. The budget for the police department is proposed to increase by $2.1 million in 2024. Chief Hodges explained that the majority of the proposed increase, about $1.4 million, would go to projected salary and benefit increases and toward an additional public safety telecommunicator position in the dispatch center. The remainder of the increase would go to increased internal charges for things like fleet services and IT and equipment and supplies. According to Chief Hodges, BPD will focus on brain health and community outreach programs in the coming year, and the biggest challenge will be replacing the 17 officers who are eligible for retirement in the next 12 to 24 months. It's a point of pride that BPD is fully staffed and has been for about the past year. There are very few police departments in Minnesota that can say that. The chief said that full staffing is the ongoing goal, and they'll look to fill open positions through a focus on employee retention and the Pathways to Policing and Police Cadet programs. Chief Hodges also assured the Council that BPD will continue to hire for character, train for competence, and unwaveringly reinforce the mission, vision, and core values of the department. The primary cost driver for the Bloomington Fire Department is basically the same. Chief Yulie Seal told the Council that the biggest expense for the fire department this year and in coming years will be the cost of additional men and women to serve as full-time firefighters to protect the City of Bloomington. The fire department is requesting a $1.5 million budget increase. More than $1.2 million of that is staffing related, including the hiring of 6 new full-time firefighters. The costs associated with moving to a hybrid full-time and paid on-call fire department are significant. There is no doubt about that. But when Chief Seal talks about the challenges his department faces, in my mind, there's no doubt about the need to move to a hybrid full-time and paid on-call fire department. The main challenge has been persistent for a number of years, and it cascades down to many of the other challenges the department faces. The fire department simply doesn't have enough part-time firefighters, and it's very difficult to recruit part-time or paid on-call firefighters. It's a difficult and demanding part-time job. The realities of work and family schedules and expectations have changed over the years, and people are deciding not to go into firefighting. It's an issue that cities across the country are facing. At the same time, calls for service continue to increase. Through September of this year, the number of calls for service had already exceeded last year's total number of calls by more than 300. And we still have 2.5 months left in this year. And because of staffing issues, there are still far too many trucks rolling with only 1 or 2 firefighters on board. Staffing is also a primary reason why Bloomington Fire is still coming up short in their response time goals. The goal is for the first unit to arrive at a scene within 7 minutes and 30 seconds. That happens 70% of the time. Now, that's an improvement since the full-timers came on board, but it's still short of the department's goal of hitting that response time 90% of the time. And on top of everything else, over the next 5 years, 28 part-time firefighters will reach 20 years of service and will be eligible to retire. That's about 1/3 of the part-time roster. The chief also talked about challenges like the ridiculous increase in the cost of fire trucks and equipment and the cost of fire stations that can adequately house full-time firefighters. So, yes, the costs associated with moving to a hybrid full-time and paid on-call fire department are significant. And we'll be talking about those costs in coming years. But as a city of 91,000 that values public safety, the alternatives are simply not acceptable. As I mentioned, this was the Council's first in-depth departmental budget discussion of the budget season. Over the coming weeks, the Council will hear from the other city departments and will review their requests as we prepare to set the final 2024 tax levy and budget in December. Now it's time to answer your questions about Bloomington Forward, the long-term investment plan that, if approved by voters, would support 3 major community projects. Specifically, 3 questions on this fall's ballot will ask voters about building a new community health and wellness center, renovating the Bloomington Ice Garden, and enhancing and protecting the 9 Mile Creek Corridor and Moyer and Central Parks. Bloomington voters will consider a 0.5% local option sales tax to finance $155 million in bonds to pay for the projects as part of a citywide referendum. This week's questions are about a much-used city facility, the Bloomington Ice Garden. The first question asks, why is big on the list for improvements? Bloomington Ice Garden features 3 ice rinks and is one of the busiest ice skating facilities in Minnesota, hosting more than 9,000 hours of ice times and 24 tournaments and events every year. But years of heavy use have taken a toll. Aging equipment that is essential to the building's operation needs to be replaced, including ice and refrigeration systems that are out of date and difficult to find parts for. And speaking of outdated parts and systems, the next question asks, I've read that the city can no longer easily get the product that keeps the ice sheets cool. Is that the case? That is true. For decades, Big's ice sheets have been kept frozen with R22, a refrigerant that has been phased out of use around the world due to its ozone-depleting properties. Today, the production and importation of R22 refrigerant is banned, forcing Big to use recovered, recycled, or reclaimed R22 to keep making ice. Approval of this project would mean Big's refrigeration systems could be replaced with systems that use an environmentally friendly refrigerant at a fraction of the cost. Next up, what specific improvements need to be made? Well, a wide range of critical infrastructure work is needed, including major roof repairs and transforming Rink 3 from an Olympic size to a standard NHL size rink to increase usability. Work is also planned to add seating and upgrade locker rooms, and many areas don't meet ADA standards for accessibility, making it difficult to accommodate visitors with disabilities. The city proposes renovating and upgrading the 50-year-old ice garden to ensure it continues to provide Bloomington skaters and families quality ice time close to home, and that it continues to draw visitors from across the region who bring revenue to Bloomington through hotel stays, restaurant visits, gas purchases, retail sales, and more. I'll be answering questions each week leading up to the election. In the meantime, for more details about the proposed projects and the Bloomington Forward sales tax, visit bloomingtonforward.org. That will do it for this week's Council Minute. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, stay safe, Bloomington.